and welcome to episode 1 of a brand new Untitled thing. I'm Ali, and we've got all sorts of treats coming your way today, from Purgatory Panic to Curse to Golf to Snooker 19 to Ali McCoist to Ian Botham, and all the other celebrities are lining up at the door ready to get involved. Let's go. Snooker 19, developed by Lab 42, published by Ripstone, is a game that at this point in time may be 5 years old, yet it remains as the most recently licensed and official game of the World Snooker Tour, and it's also still possibly the finest snooker game of all time, at least from a purely this is snooker perspective. Now we'd better get this out the way early on, but it's definitely a game for the more hardcore of snooker fans, as it's a super simulation that goes for full realism alongside the presentation and commentary that fans will come to expect, having watched the sport on television. There's no arcade shenanigans or skill points or levelling up here, you're just a man and his cue.
How does that work?
The controls are simple, and of course there is an aiming aid for those who may need it, but one false move with the cue ball and the AI can be brutally punishing, clearing the whole table in just one go, as they might in real life. I actually kinda love it. Such high stakes mean that each and every shot you take really matters, and the lack of any time limit means you really can think about things and all of the permutations before you execute your shot accordingly. While some of the character models can leave a lot to be desired, and the arenas could also probably have a bit more going on with them, the snooker table and the balls themselves really do look lush, and the shining of the lights on the perfectly polished balls can sometimes almost even be seductive as you line up your shots. Let's get back to the basics of a review though. All players who were in the World Snooker Tour Top 128 at the time of the game's release do appear, and you can play as them through a career mode which contains a full calendar of real life events. It's pretty basic at its core, as you just go from match to match or tournament to tournament, either winning or losing along the way, and honestly there's not really much to look at or do in between matches. I wish this was an area of the game that could be expanded upon, as we've seen with many other sports game career modes through the years, having things to do such as, media interviews or gaining sponsorship deals can actually add an extra level of immersion, as well as just generally keeping the player more engaged. I'm sure that if this game had become an annual franchise, then it's the sort of thing that would be expanded and iterated upon, but I have to talk about what's actually there and not what could potentially be there, right? It's really pretty bare bones and carried by the pure gameplay. There isn't even any sort of option to create your own character and start at the bottom of the rankings, as you are indeed forced to choose from one of the 128 characters available. And again, I feel like it's a real missed opportunity, because ultimately it would just be a lot cooler if you could be your own character embarking on a new career. Another criticism would be the lack of any real personality from any of your AI opponents. It seems as though how well they play and how likely they are to miss a shot is based purely on their world ranking at that moment in the career mode. And apart from a lower ranked player just missing a bit more often than a higher ranked one, they really all play exactly the same as each other with no discernible styles. For instance, I would have loved it if someone like Judd Trump or John Higgins had some sort of comeback playstyle, where you might go a few frames ahead, but then the more that you lead, the better they become. Or there could be a banana shot style that some players, like for instance Jimmy White, might have, whereby whenever possible, they would go for a real fancy bender. As someone who's watched a bunch of snooker on TV and even been to the real life snooker now, I'd have also loved to see more of the referee. In fact, just a referee full stop, as there's no referees in the game, there's just a mystical, magical force. For me, referees are just as much characters as the players themselves, and it would be great to see more involvement there. The commentary of the game repeats quite a lot, so that sometimes I end up thinking, how much would it have really cost just to have one more hour of the commentator's time to have them say a few more lines?
Where's the pigeon going?
And sometimes the cinematic camera can focus on the ball you're potting too much, so that you have no idea of where the cue ball is ending up. But that really only happens from time to time, and it's not a big deal breaker. There's an online mode with which you can either play against friends or competitive strangers, and it's actually quite cool how the online tournaments link up to the ones that are happening in real life. But as with so many things, it could have been even cooler, with potential brackets or even a sort of win 4 games in a row and you win the tournament type interaction. As I've already said, a lot of these issues could easily be solved and upgraded if this was a yearly franchise, as I imagine a lot of the problems come purely because of time and budget. But it's a shame that it's been 5 years without another one, as the core snooker itself really is so perfect, and it is just the things around it that could do with some improvement. The sport itself's also grown a lot within the last 5 years, and it does seem about time for World Snooker Tour to give this game another crack.
I'm in. Okay.
But also, I do kind of understand why we only seem to get one proper snooker game per generation. It's really just to show off how shiny the balls are on new consoles, right?
It doesn't matter.
Here's another thing, snooker players have all sorts of different body types. I suppose it's one of the things that makes the sport great, like it can really be played by anyone, and that's cool. And I'm definitely not into or meaning to body shame, right? But this game is the skinniest that you'll ever see Sean Murphy. Because every player in the game does just have the exact same body type, and it's a bit weird to be honest, but again, you know, budget and time. Obviously, if you ever go looking up video games and their genres, then this will fall into the sports category, but really, it's a skill-based puzzle game, and I do think that even people who aren't actually into snooker could enjoy it if they just gave it a chance. It's a slow-paced and strategic experience that can even be quite meditative, and it's a great way to round out an evening gaming with a sedate frame or two before bed. Really, if you like chess, you should like snooker. In fact, I'll say it, snooker's better. Summing up, this is the best snooker game available on PlayStation, Xbox or PC, and the snooker itself really is fantastic along with the general presentation. I picked it up in a recent PSN sale for £9.99 and I've definitely already had my money's worth, while also not quite being done with it yet. I'd more than recommend it to anyone who has an actual interest in snooker, but even if you don't, honestly, it's a good video game that I'd recommend people who are into skill-based puzzle games try out. I do always find it quite sad that people not into a sport might not try a game version of that sport, because another example is that, honestly, I think that even people who don't like football could definitely enjoy a game of EAFC if they, you know, just gave it a go. Good games are good games at the end of the day. Anyway, here's a little bonus section. I was at the real-life Snooker Scottish Open a few months ago, and it was pretty cool, an interesting experience. It was my first time going to snooker, and yes, I did find that a few hours of it was probably enough for me. Definitely wouldn't want to be there all day or all week. However, it was just really cool getting to see some of the players up close, and getting to see some of the things that happen behind the scenes, and when, you know, television cuts to ad breaks, etc. Same way that I would recommend the game, I would recommend any sports fan just generally tries to go to a snooker event at some point in their life, even if you just go to one, you know, check it out, give it a go, and then you can tick it off your list and say that you've been close to that beautiful baize. Signing out. Was she just spying on that guy's phone?
So 3-1. See Mark Williams.
Ocelots are proud creatures. They prefer to hunt alone. 12 shots.
Cursed to Golf by Chuhei Labs and published by Thunderful is a wonderful little roguelike delight that I recently discovered through my subscription to PlayStation Plus, and I felt compelled to share the news that it's a pretty cool game that's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of retro aesthetics and skill-based gameplay. As the title suggests, the good old Scottish sport of golf takes centre stage here as you take the role of a champion who's just about to finish the 18th hole of a big tournament when suddenly they're struck by lightning and sent to Purgatory. It's a tale as old as time, really. It's while in this newly found limbo that they meet a ghostly Scotsman who just loves building and playing golf courses, and they inform you that if you can beat their 18 holes, then you'll be sent back up to the land of the living to carry on with your glorious career. This is where the roguelike features come into play, as every time you play the game you will be faced with a different procedurally generated 18-hole course, and it's game over if you fail to manage at least a par on any given hole. It all takes place in a 2D space with various otherworldly traps and gadgets standing in your way as you choose between 3 different types of club to achieve different angles to progress through the labyrinth. And then it's all about your button timing to make sure you get where you want to go. You also have a plethora of cards at your disposal which can act as perks for your playthrough, power-ups to be deployed to help your score, or even as lifesavers to help you avoid some of that treacherous scenery. It's a simple game to pick up and play, and after a few tries you should find yourself breezing through the first few holes of each run no problem. But of course, as always with these games, the difficulty really ramps up the further you get, and there are even boss fights where you take part in some match play, taking turns against the AI to get to the hole first. I have always been a big sports fan and a fan of sports games as well, so I suppose the fact that this is ultimately based on a sport can add to my enjoyment at least a little bit, because I have also enjoyed far more traditional golf games in the past through the years, and it's nice to now experience experience something totally different. But honestly, if you just enjoy skill-based games with puzzle elements, then don't let the golf aspect of it put you off at all. It's just ultimately a good game, and in some ways it's even a bit like a precision-based platformer, just with a different control scheme, and also you're the ball. Does that make sense? Even if it does seem really hard at first, I'm pretty sure that you will find yourself improving with each run just naturally as you go, if you just give it a chance, and I do implore you to do so. Curse to Golf is available on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch and PC with a standard price of $16.99, but if you have PlayStation Plus Premium, then at the moment you can play it yourself as part of that. Give it a try. Incandescent. Emitting light as a result of being heated. Incandescent, 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 incandescent. I struggle to say that, don't I? Incandescent, 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 incandescent. Incandescent, 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 incandescent. Star of Providence is a debut release by Team D13, and it's a twin-stick shooter roguelike that's sure to appeal to fans of titles such as Enter the Gungeon, Nuclear Throne and The Binding of Isaac, just to name a few of its top-tier peers. Initially released in 2017 and under the name of Monolith, it's a relentless, adrenaline-fueled, non-stop action joyride through procedurally generated levels, with over 2,000 layouts, 120 different enemy types, as well as 50 unique modifiers and 13 types of weapon, which do all feel and act very different. While the gameplay remains as a dungeon crawler twin-stick shooter, there really is so much variety here, and like with all the top games of its type, it really is just so satisfying to play. You'll find combat in most rooms, broken up by the occasional treat to make yourself stronger, and that combat is just so fluid, requiring quick reflexes and precise actions, while also just being brilliant to take part in. You move around with the left stick while aiming with the right, and then there's a button that allows you to do a quick dodge, and a button to use up a bomb for either a screen-clearing blast, or to reveal some secret rooms. It's simple enough in that respect that I find it quite comforting sometimes to just load it up and go through a run or two, even if my brain's so tired that I can't necessarily be bothered engaging with more mechanically complex games. But that's not to say that it can't be complex. The boss fights often do ramp up into a bit of bullet hell, and you yourself even have limited ammo on the special weapons you find, meaning that you can't just spam your shoot button all of the time. I do believe that the game is now finished and in its final state, but since release it's had a lot of updates, including a full expansion pack which is now just included with the base game. A single playthrough will take approximately 30 minutes or so, but there really is so much replay value beyond that between all the different and sometimes optional areas, the variety in rooms, weapons, perks, and also the fact that even upon each completion its room configurations just become that little bit harder than they previously were. One of the joys of these roguelike type games is that sometimes you can have a lot of fun by getting really lucky and becoming incredibly overpowered. And then likewise you can have fun by having an unlucky run with a really bad loadout. But Star of Providence seems to do a great job of always having things be pretty balanced. To keep that balance while also continuing to give variety and be fun is really pretty cool. You always feel happy when you do something well and not just as though you got lucky with your loadout. I've always been a massive fan of the genre, and if we were to analyse things, I think that's because ultimately their constant action and variety keeps me constantly engaged, and Star of Providence really does a perfect job of that. Even the wonderfully done retro soundtrack, which to be honest gives me slight kind of Metroid vibes, does a great job of just making my brain feel good. I love it. For me, it's definitely up there as a proper top tier twin stick roguelike, and you could do a lot worse than to seek it out and give it a go. Star of Providence may currently only be available on Steam for the price of £12.79, but it really would be ideal for PlayStation or Switch if they ever have the chance to port it over. Honestly, I'd like it so much that I'd probably buy it again just to play it on them, and that tells you exactly how I feel about this game. I'm excited to see what the devs might be up to next, but for now, just check Star of Providence out. Cheerio! Of course, as you would expect, you move around with the left stick while aiming with the right, and then there's a button that allows you to do a quick dodge, and a button to use a bomb for either a screen... always struggle saying screen killer and blast. A minute, let's go again. You move around with the left stick while aiming with the right, and of course you also have a quick dodge, and also a button to use up a bomb for either a screen clearing blast... Oh, I can't say that. But Star of Providence seems to be
I've inherited a team in the World Soccer League, the Hurricanes!
Should have a decent pair of hands on
Yep.
it. I'm just a little concerned about him if he gets caught square on. He's sneaky, he's cunning, and he's kind of cute. He's one of them up and downers that all good teams seem to have and need.
He's in the team all day.
Right, for what? What's he in for?
I'm going to tell you right now. The fastest animal on the planet.
So he will definitely be useful.
He's in any team.
He'll be in any team.
By the way, he might be the sub to bring on.
But if he can be bothered and he's up for it, then that's not a bad side.
It's a good side.
Commonwealth Dreams from recreation master, innovative genius and all-round superstar Monocled Robot is a new release available on PlayStation within the software Dreams, and it's a delightful and unique simulator featuring a sport that I think generally deserves a lot more praise. Made in their spare time over the course of just 8 weeks, and also as a little surprise gift for my birthday, Monocled Robots really put their heart and soul into painstakingly recreating my own real-life bowling club based on seeing some of the videos on this channel, as well as accurately recreating the mechanics, feel and atmosphere of the sport itself. It's so mind-blowing to me, even now after years of experience with Dreams, that people can recreate real spaces so amazingly well, even just based off of a little bit of video footage from a place they've never even been to. The gameplay is simple enough as you just choose a direction and then choose your weight, with the objective of having your balls be the ones that end up closest to the little white ball called a jack. At first, this may seem simple as you just try to find the right trajectory towards it, but as with the sport itself, a variety of factors come into play, such as your weight affecting how much the ball curves, other balls blocking your way, perhaps requiring you to choose a different angle of approach, or indeed to knock them away, and there are even different balls available to choose from, as well as some RNG that changes between different opponents. There really is a substantial amount of gameplay here as well as you work your way through an entire bowling season in order to try and get a playable All-Star to the Commonwealth Games. Matches are won on a first to score 21 points basis, and a single match here can last for up to an hour or more, depending on how close it is, and you even have a full season of matches to get through, each with different AI opponents, and even set in some different environments. Luckily, you can save the game after each end, allowing you to casually play at your own pace. If only you could do that after each end in real life, eh? I'd be save scumming all the time. Some real life organisations even get a shout out, with the Edinburgh Bowling Association and Bowls Scotland both getting a nod. There's even a great accessibility mode. The physics are impressive as each bowl rolls over on its bias upon stopping, and clattering balls into each other really works the way it should. Getting a toucher and moving the position of the jack also comes into play to change up the situation, and it all just works. Of course, nothing can replace the feel of being outdoors in the sunshine, but this really is just as serene an experience as the real life thing, as the minimalist sound design and slow pace lead to a real cozy game experience. You can even play it in local multiplayer with a friend on your couch while you have a few drinks and a chat. I'm really very humbled and even a little bit embarrassed, but in the good way, that Monocled Robot would take so much influence and put so much time into such a cool project just based on something I've been doing in real life to follow my own little passion. It's really incredible. I've been a big fan of them for a long time, and it's really such a lovely thing. If you find yourself watching this and you're interested in the real sport, then that's awesome. Like, honestly, I think you should give it a go. There probably is a club local to you, and there are few things in life as satisfying as when you see your ball just go up and give the jack a little kissing toucher. If your local club is anything like the clubs that I've encountered in real life, they'll be more than happy to have you along, teach you how to play, and even provide you with everything you need. It's worth trying just for a day. Unfortunately though, it is a summer thing, and we're now into winter, so you'll have to make do with Commonwealth Dreams for now. Alright, it's time for a little musical interlude. This is the band Scarlet Lashes with their song Maximum Profit. Scarlet Lashes are Orion Valentine and Impotent Mink. They met within Dreams, this music is made within Dreams, and the video is also made in Dreams by the dreamer Tricobalt. It's wonderful. Just check it out, yeah. Man, the bee's pure running away from a little green fly. The bee was sitting there just chilling, then this little green fly came running up behind it, and now the bee is trying to get away from that green fly. It's coming towards me for safety, I feel. See? Oh, the green one's chasing it again, look. Dun, 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 dun. You go, where you going? Where you going? What's the bee gonna do? He's just there having a wee clean, he's chilling out. Oh, oh. Oh, hello. Is he kissing the bee's arse? What's going on here? Is he gathering some resource from the bottom of the bee?
whatever he was doing, he's had enough now. He's away home. He's had his fill. Alright, see you later, pal. The bee's very still now, isn't it? I mean, they didn't just kill the bee, did they? Oh no, he's alive, he's alright. There we go. Okay. He'll get back to business soon, I'm sure.
Purgatory Panic, from Dutch longtime originator of cool ideas, Eric Roggeveen, known in Dreams as Surrounded, is a classy, polished and unique 2D platformer with fantastic chops that you can play in Dreams on PlayStation 4 or 5 right now. It's got 21 levels, and on each you'll find yourself on a mission to move upwards towards creatures who are sometimes cute and wholesome and sometimes absolutely terrifying. Almost like a cross between Franz Boy's Orbs and something from the artist David Shrigley. Fans of titles such as N++, Dust Force DX and Super Meat Boy should find themselves right at home with the tight controls and wall sliding, as you journey upwards, finding yourself being almost hypnotised by the original level design as you spiral in a truly unique manner while avoiding all sorts of your standard platforming hazards. But each level really does a fantastic job of introducing something that's actually new to proceedings and not just giving you harder jumps to make. It's expertly designed and keeps you pushing through each level in anticipation of what cool idea or art style might appear next. There are 3 optional collectibles to find on each level, and if you get them all across the whole game then you will get a nice little bonus, and the whole experience took me around 75 minutes or so to get through first time, while gathering most but not quite all of the optional extras. It features an all-original soundtrack from longtime and prolific Dreams composer Landroid 9000, and all in all, what's on offer across the board is an expertly put together little package. Surrounded really has shown themselves to have wonderful qualities with unique ideas and polish. If you haven't already checked them out, then I'd also really recommend 6-in-1 Retro Kart and the deceptively deep Cow Runner as titles you should also play. Dreams really is full of so many amazing things, and hopefully I'll get to cover more of them in the future. It's all about the talent you all have. Peace out.
Well, I think at times, I personally feel that I feel that we should have defence. I feel that we should have weapons. And I do believe that if a guy gets off his backside and wants to go out and try and make something of his life, he should have that opportunity in an event to stop and cut out corner dealers in drugs who give a kid some marijuana, and then they line it up with some heroin inside it, and the next thing you know, you've got a kid chasing the dragon. And they shouldn't be just putting them in jail for a few years, they should be hanging them. I think a heroin dealer should be shot. If I caught them, I think they should be severely treated. I only take out what's got to be taken out. There's arguments today, there'll be arguments in years to come. That doesn't happen when I go out with a gun. Fact. What do you want me to do, go to the office at 9 o'clock and come back at 5? I can only speak for myself. I don't get any, it's no big thrill. I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, how many am I going to kill today? Can't you see that maybe leading to even warfare, bloodbaths? I would simply say to the children, I would say to them, look, that can kill you. I think probably at the time I felt that it didn't do me any harm. At the time I felt there was nothing wrong with it. It's free will. That's what my father thought in the Second World War. Skin's how deep? To me, if a man's black, green, yellow, and blue spots, I couldn't give a stuff. That it'd be too easy for people to sit down and do nothing and get paid for it.
Over to your conscience, said to take a break. Too much time inside your mind is your biggest mistake. Your grey matter is rotting, you're staying up too late. The words that once felt so real seem hollow and well fake. You seem to be inside a hole, not giving love to your soul. Of course you can call me a hypocrite, but what sort of person would I be if I didn't say what I see and try to help you do something about it? 'Cause you're an asshole, a fucking asshole. You're an asshole, a bloody asshole. You're an asshole, a fucking asshole. But that's okay, 'cause I'm an asshole too. Now step back to your conscience, too late to wait and see. Midnight rants seem funny, but they're worrying to me. Your head is full of big ideas, but most of them are shit. Rework your proposition, change the way you look at it. You seem to be inside a hole, not giving love to your soul. Of course you can call me a hypocrite, person would I be if I didn't say what I see and try to help you do something about it? 'Cause you're an asshole, a fucking asshole. You're an asshole, a bloody asshole. You're an asshole, a fucking asshole. But that's okay, 'cause I'm an asshole too.